I spent 8 years on the content hamster wheel and got completely burned out. Today, I work less than 1 hour per day on content, and I'm able to post every single day. This approach has allowed me to build a combined audience of 20,000 people and get 10 times more out of the effort that I put into content creation than I ever did before. So the old stupid way that I used to do it was every single week, I would sit down and record a new YouTube video, record a new podcast, write multiple emails to my list, write daily posts for social media, and I would also spend time writing a book. And I would come up with a separate idea for each one of those. This shiny content hamster wheel that I built for myself led me to one place, and that was burnout. Out of frustration, I start looking around at other creators who are much more prolific than me. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. And I stumbled across Dan Coe. I learned from Dan that what he does is he writes one newsletter every week, and then that newsletter becomes a loose script for his YouTube video. Then he rips the audio out of the YouTube video, puts that on his podcast, and then he pulls quotes and shorts from the newsletter to go as short form posts. So I adopted Dan's approach and things got a lot easier. I just had to write one sick piece of content every week, and then I could repurpose it across all platforms. It would appear like I was creating tons of content everywhere, but all of it really came from just one long form blog post or newsletter. But if you've been following me for a while, you know by now that I love to write books. I want to write 1 to 2 books every year for the rest of my life. Problem with books is that if you set out to write a book, then it takes you away from the content creation you need to do. It takes you away from reaching out to people, emailing your list, getting on calls with prospects, and serving clients. It's like this big, long project that has a delayed payoff, which is what leads a lot of people to starting their book, but never finishing it. So what I set out to do was to take Dan Coe's content strategy one step further and incorporate book writing into it. So what I do now is whatever book that I'm working on, I will write a chapter in that book, and then that chapter will literally become the LinkedIn post for the day. It will become the script for the YouTube video, which will then go on the podcast. From that chapter, I will pull a couple of tweets or threads out that I could put on X or Threads or Instagram. So essentially what I do is I look at my books as the raw material for all of the content that I put out. The larger epiphany that I've had is that content is just raw material. It just gets shaped and morphed to be presented in different ways across different formats and platforms. You can take one idea and make it 100 different things. And so I've stopped thinking about like, oh, this is my book and this is my YouTube channel and this is my podcast and these are my Instagram posts. These are my LinkedIn posts. All of that is content at its core. It's just being presented in a fitting way for that format, right? You wouldn't just copy paste a LinkedIn post right into a book. You wouldn't just read a book verbatim on a YouTube video and so on. So it is much more efficient to think of your ideas as the raw content that you need to come up with. And then you'll need to have less of those because you can create a system that allows you to reshape those ideas for the different platforms and store them for reuse as well. Once you have hundreds of ideas in your content bank and you wake up and you're like, what am I going to post today? You can pull something that you posted 3 months ago and repost it. I promise you, nobody's going to notice. In fact, this is what most big creators do. Somewhere between 1/3 to 1/2 of everything they post, they've actually posted it before. But since your audience is always growing, there's always going to be new people that were there that didn't see the post the first time. As a sidebar, having a content storage system is also critical to pulling this off. I like my approach to this the best because, yes, I want to create content and grow an audience, and I want to build up my content bank, but I also want to get 1 or 2 books per year out of the effort that I put into my content creation. I really believe that when I'm on my deathbed one day, one of the things I'll be the most proud of is the books that I have published, because those will still be there. They can help people long after I'm gone. Literally, my great grandkids can read my books and hopefully learn some valuable things to help them in life. And they're just the best type of long form content to build trust and help me get customers and clients today. Regardless of what you take away from this, I encourage you to be more strategic in the way that you think about and create and reuse your content. This will get you off of that content hamster wheel of feeling like you have to hustle and create something for every single platform, create something new every single day. If you want to try my approach of using book material as the raw ingredient for the rest of your content, but you're not sure which book chapters you should actually be writing, you can get a free copy of my book, Get Clients with a Book, using the link in the description. It's 148 pages. It comes with a free pre-built outline for you in Google Docs that will literally tell you exactly what chapters you should be writing for the book that you can then reuse as all of your content. And one final bit of nuance to mention here. If your book is on a very niche topic, like how to flip houses on eBay or something, I'm just making that up, you may not want all of your content to be about that, right? You might sprinkle in some broader business content or personal growth content into your stuff. And so what I do is I try to use book chapters for maybe about 3 days worth of content each week, 3 days worth of my LinkedIn posts. And if I post every day, I've got 4 other posts that are going to be just more broad or generic posts about business or how to grow a coaching business. That way you don't just narrowly define your niche too much and just hammer your audience over and over with stuff that they may get a little bored with. What I'm trying to say is this doesn't have to be this super strict system, but I just use a little strategy where I get to write books and be ever present on social media. Before you go, if you're going to write a book, don't do it until you watch this video right here. I'll see you next time.